When I want to know if it's a real line,
We're good. Okay, welcome to our work meeting tonight. Just by way of information, we will excuse Councilmember Shields, who's on a flight, and then Councilmember Henderson should be joining shortly, so we do still have our quorum. We possibly could have Nathan joining us, our city manager as well, from Oregon. So we're gonna jump right in, we're gonna get done with our work meeting before 7 tonight. There's 3 days. 1.1, review of this evening's agenda. Any questions, changes?
Do you wanna just note that that one item was removed?
Oh, yeah.
from the-
Yep, that one. And 9.2 has been removed from the agenda, that's been cleared up. And then, Teddy, you weren't here, they were giving us the heads up before on there's a change on the consent agenda. We need to approve 3 items in deny 1, because there's been a change to the bid. They could not. Go through their bids. Next, future agenda items.
Joint meeting is currently scheduled for next week. Is that something, the only thing on the joint meeting is the Open and Public Meeting Act training.
I will be out of town, but I also did receive it yesterday at the sewer board, and they're gonna get a certificate. Todd Godfrey said he could get that.
Our thoughts are just let
Our
it happen.
preference is just to cancel it, and
Yeah.
let Todd do it at
Let
the
Todd do it at both.
PC and CC.
if that's the only thing on the agenda.
That's it.
Yes.
You wanna do it first anyway.
I do wanna do it.
Fine.
He's got some great graphics.
If not,
I have
he
so
will by
much
then.
content.
Todd videos are gonna keep rolling in.
So if council's
Okay, yeah, we're okay,
okay with that, we'll cancel that.
Dang it.
Somebody's knocking.
Everyone's muted. Somebody's-
Wait for the echo to come.
John's beatboxing over there.
You have Rodeo that's knocking.
Great.
And who? Paul Anderson.
I would like to, and this is no rush on this, I would just like to have a discussion about, we've talked about it before, just in concept, but I would like to talk about maybe a policy change in the council as far as what comes to the work meeting versus what, I think we're to the point, there's some items that just come, that I think there's gonna be a lot coming at us the next, I just look at how much is gonna be coming at us, and I think there are some items, and I don't know if it's a change where you put it out, that staff can put it out to council and we can look at it a week before and decide if it needs to go to work meeting first.
Okay.
A triggering mechanism,
Anybody else?
something
Yeah,
like
some
that.
triggers to work.
Any other discussion on that, or is there anybody else that's interested in seeing that come back?
I'm not saying we don't want some stuff, cause I think there is some stuff that needs to,
Correct.
I think there is some stuff that can just go right to it. Again, I think we need to start checking
We just
stuff
have to have
off
a
faster,
policy,
yeah,
yeah.
we just need to start checking stuff off so we can move on. So,
You want him to act like the legislature? They are efficient. No, I'm serious, they are. Like
just
how
compare
fast
this-
they go through bills?
which is true.
No, because we want
As
to
it
actually
says.
read them.
Yeah, I mean, they don't know what they're, read it. I am not gonna go any further.
Be careful.
But I'll just say this, sometimes they vote and pass on a bill that's actually not the right bill, and no one says anything until the next day, so.
Cause, why, too fast.
And again, it's not to, I don't want to skip something that might
Just
need to
speed
be,
rush things,
but
but there are some things that probably
that we
not.
don't need to waste, it's not waste time on, but we can just, but honestly, we're ready to approve in these anyway, so why have them come to this meeting when we can just be more efficient and just move on quicker.
Yeah, and I think
Okay, are you
that
guys
we've
good with
made a
that?
lot of changes towards that already, I think it's working pretty well, but if there's some more specifics you wanna come.
And I think it just came up tonight even, like I think the one on the pit tonight was a little, they were a little caught off guard by that, and as I read through it, it seemed, again, maybe I'm missing something, but it's just, to me, it seemed like a formality, just based on our pit policy already in place in the MDA, to where, even if there was some discussion, we still could have that discussion in there. You don't, it doesn't say we can't have that discussion in there, but I've just noticed even our general meetings have been lighter, they seem to have been lighter lately, where we could have something like that on the general meeting tonight. And not make a decision rather than tonight, we're gonna have the discussion, then it's gotta come back in 3 weeks. So, again, doesn't mean we couldn't, you know,
We'll
kick it
we'll
out,
put
you know,
something
the
together
outward
on
meeting
that.
too.
Happy to have that discussion.
Or even if there's questions on items, it could be on both agendas, the work meeting and the general.
Yeah, something like tonight could have been, maybe that could have been the situation.
Yeah, and I think that was a policy change to undo that because we were having discussions in here, doing the same discussion out there, and there was some frustration and wasting time, so. It's
Yeah,
a-
that's true, and that's stuff we probably weren't privy to before, after, yeah.
It was previous to his council that we started doing that, so, yeah. We'll talk to Nate about that when he gets back.
I just have one issue, I talked to you a little bit about this, but I wanted to, I'm working on, trying to get the county council to put the fluoride initiative back on the ballot, and I wanted to present that to this council first, to see if you would be willing to sign on just a letter of support that, asking that, and then I was going to try and, ask the rest of the cities in the county to join that letter of support to having that initiative back on the ballot. So I'd like to present some data and information to you guys, so not February 15th, but the meeting after, 14th, not Valentine's
28th.
Day, the next one.
Okay.
So,
In the
And
general
I'll-
meeting or the work meeting?
I'm in the general meeting, and I'll get you the slide presentation when it's prepared up to you, so you have information for the package.
Okay. Love it. Anything else?
Probably just a ledge update after it's done, but that'll probably
We've been
be-
talking
yeah,
about that and trying to figure out the best way to get that, because it changes so fast.
Yeah,
By the time we get it in the packet and get it to you, it's the information we
well, this
get
be
from-
after session or something though, yeah. Just-
Yeah, I think we'll figure it out. We meet weekly, are we meeting weekly now? And so we're talking about just doing a weekly update.
So at the end of each work session, just for 15, however long the council wants to do it, we'll kind of prioritize what we think the top 3, 4, 5 issues are and get some direction, so that way during the next week, when we meet with the league and legislatures, we can give them direction on where the city wants to go with certain bills.
Awesome.
And then we'll do a big update after the session, on bills that passed, that didn't pass, that sort of thing.
I probably missed it too, but I think even if we have an agenda item on the 14th, even just general discussion, I don't think we need to put anything in the packet. Cause I think last year we
For
kind
the
of just,
legislative updates.
yeah, just legislative update on that. We did that last year, I think, and it was.
Oh, just
super
put it-
beneficial,
yeah.
Just,
A line item.
yep.
Yeah.
We don't need to do a packet or a slide or anything, just,
Just to hear some
there could be
hot-
stuff from
hot
that day
buttons.
and it'd be good for us to, I'm not great at communicating after LPC. I
I've been
tried
thinking about that
first.
too. And there's other, Wasatch Front is tracking a lot of bills too. So, I don't know, we'll figure it out and get that information to all of you.
Okay.
Yeah.
I know a lot of you are participating in LPC and that's awesome.
Yeah, and it would just be good even for public consumption, just that if there are people who look through the packet or things like that, or listen to these, just to know, hey, here's some, red flag kind of items that we're tracking and want to think about.
And we'll work with communications and come up with some sort of strategy on how to get those out to the public, so they're aware of what they're talking about.
Okay, love it. Okay, 1.3, council discussion of future citizen recognitions. tonight we do have Meals on Wheels coming. Sherry, I was gonna ask if you can know
Windy Hill.
Wendy Hill,
Oh, yeah.
so we thought maybe you could introduce a little bit of that.
Yeah.
And then Mountain Ridge and Harriman High girls soccer teams are coming tonight. They were supposed to, yeah, and they were gonna be here 2 weeks ago. I thought it was just Mountain Ridge, but he had already reached out to Harriman too, cause they did that fundraiser. We're gonna focus more on the fundraiser. They have sent me a few of their, kind of their accomplishments from each team too, but we wanna focus on the coming together for the fundraiser. So both of them. So it'll be a big crowd tonight.
Is there any future?
Future on the 28th. Those young men that pushing, kind of pulled off to the side themselves when we're pushing cars up Rosecrest. News even grabbed that. So I
Dare
reached out.
kiddos coming from, I'll figure out a date for that.
Oh, yeah, on the dare. From
On
the
the
first
28th?
semester.
No. How many other are we gonna have on the 20th?
I think just those three is
This
what
is-
I
That might be
Yeah,
good.
so,
Okay.
yeah.
Is that which school?
It'll be all of them,
All
but the
of
first
them.
half.
From the first semester.
Okay.
First half.
The essay winners, is that what you're talking about? There's some pretty cool stuff there.
We'll have Jake and Rich bring them.
I love that we do that, so we have.
Yep. And we've got a kiddo we missed from last time, that the mayor found.
What?
The kiddo that we missed last time, but you
Oh, yeah,
got all dressed up. Wrong night.
yeah. See if he can come, yeah.
We'll fix that up.
Okay, love it. Okay, well, here we go. 2.1, Blackridge Reservoir Operations, 2024. Wendy.
Okay, we have a presentation, you have some information in your packet and also referred back to previous meetings. I did wanna rehash all of that in the packet, so hopefully you all remember where Blackridge is. That's where it's at, in case you forgot. So there's a couple things that we really wanna tackle as staff tonight, and I really want to thank Trevor was a big help on this project, Anthony, Lauren, Kyle, BA, and I'll give some credit to Matt and Todd too, since they were helpful. And we'll be taking one of the slides.
Don't say a word tonight. Don't ask us questions, cause we're done. For about 5 minutes.
There's a couple things that we just really want to make sure we have clear direction on and ask you how you wanna handle the operations this year at the reservoir. We've talked a lot about some of these changes already. First, this is the parking fee just at the reservoir itself. Last time I heard that you were interested in the parking fee, we've talked to some parking vendors, we feel comfortable with parking vendors. Do you wanna charge a fee, and can you pull up that spreadsheet, John? If you wanna charge a fee, what that fee is, and do you want it every day, do you want it on weekends and holidays? Those are the kind of things we're looking for today. We have a spreadsheet that Trevor created for us that you can change the parking fee to see how it changes the rest of the spreadsheet. So the spreadsheet as proposed in your packet contemplates a $15 charge per day. The first tab of the spreadsheet, you didn't have the tabs. One was just for weekends and holidays, the other was for every day. So happy to hear your discussion and kind of see what you think.
So I'm curious about, okay, so help me walk through the numbers. Okay, I got the first top total revenue, that's if you charge that for just weekends and holidays.
So go to that other tab, John,
Sorry.
This one's the weekends and holidays, I believe.
So 54,000.
Yep.
And then the expenditures, out of all these expenditures, these are expenditures that we're currently incurring and we just continue to incur, right? Okay. And then, so this basically 54,000 is just an offset of these expenditures.
Yes.
Minus the percentage that the, diamond parking, the 16 grand for diamond parking, right? So we were spending $102,000 a year up there
Yeah, give or take.
on average. And now some of this, of course, like the 15,000 for new signs and stuff, that's a one-time
That's
cost,
one-time expense.
so that's just partly.
So 90.
So this kind of gives us back about half of what it's costing us. And the other scenario to where we charge all the time, there would be some profit margin on that 33 grand, right?
John, can you go to the other tab? That's the everyday charge, yeah.
So in my mind, the question is really, do we, for me, I have my answer is yes, we should be charging a fee to park there. There's substantial costs associated with it, so, and there's a convenience about parking in there. And that convenience comes at a cost because our residents are paying for that cost and it's not all our residents that are using it. So there should be a cost associated with that. Then the only question I really have is, should the fee cover the cost? What do you guys think?
How does the daily operations work? I pull in, I park, pay $15, I leave, somebody else can pull in and park $15. Or that spot's mine till my vehicle moves, right?
Yeah.
Okay.
So that revenue could go up based on if there are 3 to 4 people.
Little transitions
using
at
it.
times, yeah.
And we do anticipate that, right? This is a pretty conservative estimate.
Yeah.
We anticipate that we have people that will come in the morning and stay until noon and then leave, and more people come in later in the day,
Right.
so. The other thing to think about with the everyday piece is,
You're gonna know where I'm going here.
oh, go ahead then, Mayor.
No, the trailhead becomes an
Yeah.
issue, that
Yeah.
we've heard from the trails,
Do
the
we,
biking community, they would like.
I wouldn't mind.
Cause on the weeknights, Chief, you can speak, weeknights aren't the problem usually, right? It's the weekend.
It's weekends and
Weekends and
holidays.
holidays. And the holidays are 4 to 5 during the period.
I wonder if we could, I mean, I hate even saying an exception, right, to the rule, such as the parks and trails guys that are always going there. We know they're mountain bikers, they're registered, they're there all the time. If they have a permit pass, not for the blacked out weekends and holidays, but for the day, you know, or,
I don't know how you manage
Well,
that.
and the
Yeah, I
other,
know, that's-
me either.
that's-
And the other assumption on here too is the likelihood is that we won't fill all the slots anyway, so the revenue might not really even be there anyway.
not through the week,
During
yeah,
the
for,
week, you know what I mean, the holidays and
Yeah.
weekends, I believe that revenue's
yeah.
pretty sound, and with the potential to go up because people coming and going. But the other revenue is really subjective, right? However many people, maybe nobody's there today, or there's one or two people in the
But do
whole
we
parking lot.
drop I mean, we're paying for the infrastructure, we're paying for the service. Is this a kiosk, is this
No, it's a scan, it's a
Okay.
QR scan.
okay, just like downtown
The
sort of
parking
thing? Okay.
services people provide all the signs and they do all the enforcement within the parking
I think
lot.
if the infrastructure's there, maybe it's a $5 through the week, or $3 during the week.
So you just reduce
We
it.
could do that
Reduce
too.
the fee, so we still pay for the infrastructure and the cost of the facilities, and maybe after the first year that goes away for those times, I don't know what that looks like.
Cause couldn't you just ride your bike there? Just kidding.
We could, but then how does this impact our permit parking and our?
We're gonna get, we're gonna
Okay,
do that
all
too.
right.
Because there is a chance that people, that's why there's discussion about expanding the permit area, because if people have to pay, they may be more likely to park
Oh, they would, I mean,
on the
especially with
streets,
our,
right?
if I'm paying a $30 ticket or $15 ticket and I never really pay it,
Yeah, that's why definitely
Yeah.
that parking fine needs to go up, because it has to encourage them to pay the $15 versus violating it, cause they're.
but then we'll have more
substantial.
signage, I assume we're gonna pay more signage outside of, in the permit area to oversign, and so,
That's part of that sign
yeah,
package.
okay.
So there's really no option if they're, for the mountain biking people, where else could they park, really?
Is there another trailhead
Juniper,
Juniper,
where we're pushing them out to the new
Street.
trail system?
yeah,
I mean,
or they're, Juniper.
It'll be a problem if we
Yeah.
don't.
yeah, so and I don't wanna discourage people, especially teams in high school.
For getting
and stuff like that.
outside, yeah.
Yeah, for using those trails, that's what we have them for, right? Yeah, so I'm somewhat okay with just doing the night, the weekends and holidays, because, and then reassess next year and see what the revenue was generated, cause maybe we get really close to breaking even on it anyway, because we have people coming and going.
And it may, I mean, hiring the parking contractor may also reduce the amount of staff that we feel like we have to have there.
And
To
hopefully
monitor
police
things.
calls, maybe that'll
It
help with
might.
them too.
We'll have to be in the neighborhoods.
Yeah,
Our job isn't
Parking.
gonna change terribly. In
Okay.
fact, we may need to be in there more.
That's what I'm. down
For now, right?
Yeah.
Until people kind of get used to the change.
I could even see, I leave my parking spot to run to the Chevron, but my coolers and bikes and trailer, whatever else is in that parking spot still.
You pile all your stuff.
Yeah.
Don't give people.
I'm just, they're already out there, they're doing it anyways.
No, I don't, 'cause
I have not been there for a summer or two.
So how do you feel about, it sounds like we're open to the weekends and holidays for charging $15, does that seem like a fair price to pay for your spot?
One movie ticket's that much.
Yeah,
You know,
going to the
a
rec
carload of
center is
people.
3 people, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay, can you go back to the PowerPoint, John? So I can stay on track.
Except for on Tuesday.
We also included the RFP in your packet. I just wanted to make sure you're okay with us going with the parking contractor instead of trying to handle it in-house.
Yep.
We're really excited about that, so,
No,
Perfect.
that's good.
I thought we were done.
okay, no, we've got a lot to go here, there. So now it's the parking permit area and permit fee. Does the council want staff to begin the process to expand the parking permit area, and do you want to eliminate the fee associated with the permit area? The current permit area is in purple, staff recommend adding the green area. We have not sent any, we talked to some of these residents at the open house that we had last year, but nothing formal has been done because it is quite the process that we'll have to go through. We'll have to have 51% of the people that live in this area agree that that's something that they want to see. I think taking away that fee would take away their, their worry about it.
Yeah.
And then there's public hearings and there's a process, we'll have to do some ordinance updates and those, so just kinda wanna get your idea on that, are we missing any areas, are there areas that we've recommended?
I guess, are we missing any areas? Did you have issues in any other parts that are not gonna be included in this? Did we have substantial issues on any other roads because was it 24th of July? Remember when we,
Yeah,
We did on Emmeline.
we did, and I think we'll still see that. People are gonna park in other areas and carpool up, which, great. Do that,
Okay.
but
What
And
about that?
Emmeline's wide enough, we did
Yeah.
have some complaints from the folks down there.
but it's no different than you could get complaints anywhere, someone's having a party, why are all these people parked in front of my house? Or, you know what I mean, or some people get upset when we have the town days.
Yes.
People are parking in front of my house, those kind of things, right?
What about that HOA area?
That depends on what ends up happening with that HOA area. I think if they did come in, if we did take over that road, we would definitely have to include
Yeah.
that.
Yeah.
There's just no way
And maybe
around
that's part of that agreement regardless, yeah. Okay.
anytime you
Keep an eye
control
on
something,
that.
it's gonna push the problem. So we'll
Yeah.
just have to figure out what that is as it goes on.
Okay.
We did see issues on Pulley Lane last year where people were parking and walking down. There's some open space right there on Aurora Vista.
Yeah,
I don't know how to make this work. So people were parking up there and walking down, but
it's just that one dirt lot through there, I think,
yeah, yep.
But I think the parking on Emmeline's probably more ideal than anywhere else up in that area. 'Cause there's not a lot of street front housing, if any, and then,
It's big.
and it's not double striped yet.
I think
It's
they're all
single striped.
street front.
Yeah, they're all straight
They're all
down.
street.
On that section, okay.
Yeah.
Oh, it's farther down, okay.
But it is also wider roads, it should be able to accommodate that better, have a flow of traffic.
So we can start outreach to the area if that's kind of what you all think,
Let's start with that, yeah.
and then see how that outreach goes. And then the $25 fee, we heard at the last meeting to just get rid of it and just,
I think that should, I mean, cause we probably did that for the actual process and signs and all that, and
Yeah.
that's put into the other parking fees, so.
okay. Parking fine amount, this is why Matt's here. He's been researching all of the fine information,
Here's your golden moments.
and now he's not gonna talk.
Todd got you a
Todd?
movie.
Todd,
Queued
should
up.
we throw a bonus time? What do you wanna know about fees?
How much can we charge?
Yep, how much
So currently we're at $25 under the city ordinance, state code's 40. We can charge a max fine of $100 in the permit area right now. In the permit section, it gives us that $100 max, but under our city ordinance, we can charge up to $750.
In a permitted or non-permitted.
Just
parking,
anywhere.
Just anywhere, okay.
So what's the
Permitted area.
conflict?
So
between-
anywhere outside of the permitted area, cause the permitted area says it's $100 max, so anywhere else out of that permit zone that was just in purple, we can go to $750, but we're not going to, I'm just saying that's your max,
So, but
there's your limit.
because it is a permitted area, we can only go to 100
So the way
Currently.
the ordinance was written for that permit area,
for
Around
our ordinance
Blackridge.
or the state,
the city ordinance,
okay,
they put a cap in that permit zone of $100.
Alright.
So that could always be changed,
right.
but right
And-
now that cap is 100.
So 750 is a state cap, who's 750?
Our ordinance, for a class C or an infraction, we can charge a $750 fine.
Got it, okay, I don't suggest we don't.
Yeah, I'm just giving you your max, so.
One and done.
Sometimes.
They will learn their lesson.
Um,
Think of them as a teenager, 13-year-old.
so I did look around to surrounding cities for their, city ordinance, what they're charging, and it's around the $40-50. What the state code's.
And that's that's just no
That's just-
parking anywhere through their city,
Yeah.
but
So if
Do
you
they
go
have permit
park
areas or
on
not
a street and you're not supposed to park there by a fire hydrant or too close to a stop sign, something like that, it's going to be around that $40 or $50. And then sometimes you can charge a higher offense on a second time if you wanna do that, but it's usually easier just to stay with your
The same
flat
fee.
fee.
I don't
It's
think
hard to
40 or
track the
$50
fires.
is a deterrent, personally. It's like $40, okay, it's a whole day of entertainment, just park there, big deal. I don't mean that big deal to break the law, I'm just saying that I think people, and the cost
If I have to walk up that
associated with
hill,
us even
I'll
trying
pay
to
$40.
collect $40
So the
There's
highest,
a nuance, right?
Well,
The
we
highest
spend
fine-
$40 by the time the officer drives away.
Exactly,
Yeah.
so it's like, that to me, it's like, doesn't even come close to covering any of our costs to issue a ticket for $40.
the highest fine that I've seen is the city of Brighton, and they're 150.
Yeah, but they're strict as heck too.
Oh, yeah.
Well,
That's what I'm
just
saying,
changed
is
it.
we have this 750 limit that we're not gonna get close to,
Right.
but the highest that I've seen in research is the 150 in Brighton City.
What was
What's
that?
the percentage of these tickets being paid? Do we have that?
I don't know the percentage, but the ones that
That'll be records.
aren't being, taken care of are usually the ones that haven't updated their information with the DMV.
Yeah.
And we just can't track them down,
Yeah.
and the court sends out the notice, if they don't respond, then we get an opportunity, our office does, to send it out again. So we'll try to, other means to try to track it down, an address, and sometimes we're successful, sometimes not. So it'll get dismissed, but. Yeah.
Jared can't talk, so I know he's not feeling well. He says other amenity areas with ski resorts, reservoirs are 125 to 150, like you said, to
Yeah.
Brighton's point.
Yeah, cause it's not just a parking thing, it's
It's an
because they're
amenity,
accessing an amenity, and if you wanna access the amenity, then go and pay the money in the parking lot that's provided, or figure out another avenue. And the problem is too, in my mind, part of this issue that we're trying to address in a roundabout way is too many people at the reservoir, right? So if it's easy just to park on the road and pay $40, we don't tap into that either. But if we say $15 and the parking lot's full, that means the reservoir's pretty full, so go somewhere else, or else we're gonna ding you $150.
Or get there early, or, yeah. Are we patrolling hourly, or every couple hours, or complaint based, or?
It depends on if we're there on a holiday weekend when we're assigned.
Yeah,
then
you're assigned,
constantly,
you're there all
right?
the time.
Otherwise, it is as the city, the other call load allows. So it may be that we're not there for 4 hours.
Yeah, and then you may not even be picking up the write-in citations, cause they're parking there.
Community services really did spend a lot of time there,
Yeah.
when they should have been doing a lot of other stuff. So I would say during the weekends, just without a holiday, they were up there a lot, at least every couple hours.
Can you do two separate? Can you do one in the permitted area and one just, outside the permitted area?
That does create issues for staff, though.
So you're saying we're trying to find a balance now,
Yeah.
new parking.
So you want a new
violation
parking violation for
the whole
citywide?
Citywide.
It's a little bit
I mean, you all can decide what you
No.
wanna do, but.
like snow plowing and, you know, you don't want your snow plow having to figure out where the HOA is and where the public street is while they're operating a 40,000-pound truck. Same thing happens with police, is that side
Is that
permitted area
permitted or not
or
permitted?
not?
I see.
So that's why you don't want.
And it goes up through prosecution, and
We
courts,
do
and
have
they're
a
trying to figure
section
out
where
too.
the $25 will raise up based on when they pay it. So within so many days, if they paid it's 25, after that it goes to 35, then
So
45.
it escalates.
So,
That's not really ever used because I feel bad charging, saying you're gonna pay a higher fee if you wanna come in and contest your ticket, and now it's pushed you out
yeah,
to a certain point, so I've just never
cause they're,
agreed with
it's at
that.
the mercy of when you can see them.
Yeah, so they're being punished for
Compliance, yeah.
coming in to maybe have a reason why they were parked that way.
So how big of an issue is it outside of this area?
We have pretty standard parking problems across the city. That was our original goal with the whole parking enforcement that morphed into community service to begin with. Clearly, it's not as significant as it is there. But the permit area's been, they maintain themselves pretty well recently, but yeah, we have parking problems across the city. For sure.
Just so that you guys are aware, we get about 40% of people that actually pay their fines on parking tickets.
Nice, thank you for that.
40%. So what's staff's recommendation on this? Do you have a recommendation?
Look at you.
Back again.
My opinion is to go one fee across whatever you decide that number is, and I don't know what that number is, but I wouldn't charge a fee in the permit area that's higher than anywhere else, because a parking ticket's a parking ticket.
Is that-
And
Wherever
is
you
this
are in the
correct?
city.
Is it correct to say that if you charge more than the $40, it's an administrative citation, not a criminal citation? That's not correct. Okay, never mind, I take it back.
So that doesn't change, okay.
On that stat, is it citywide 40%, or is that just, okay?
So if we went to 40 or 50 across the city,
I'd be like 75 to 100. I know it's rough, but that doesn't even cover your man hour to write the citation, and then these guys, I
One
mean,
thing to consider is having escalated parking ticket.
Yeah.
So the
What is
first
that?
violation's $40, second violation's 75, third violation's.
I like
and that would go with the registration or the driver?
Probably go with the person, yeah.
You're citing the registration, right?
You don't know who the
We have
driver
multiple
is
people.
necessarily.
This just goes off their plate, right?
Yeah.
What are you saying?
Well, because you have to serve the person, you can't just leave the ticket on the vehicle.
Do you have to, once
That's
you,
why I'm saying our percentage, whatever our percent comes out,
Yeah.
if you're saying 40% is, we can't serve them notice, that's why if a parking ticket's not taken care of, it's because their DMV information, they're supposed to, by law, keep updated when they move things, they haven't done so when we go to serve them, both times they don't get served because they're not at that actual address. So we try twice and once we're
When
out,
you-
we've lost that time from the courts.
when you read the citation, are you finding driver?
He's leaving it with the car.
So it'd be assigned to if that car is under second, then the escalating, that's what I'm trying, I think that's what.
The notice of the violation is left with the vehicle.
Yeah.
Now, prosecution, it's different when it gets to that point, right?
They
They've
have to
gotta
tie it
find
to a
out a
person.
person
Parking's
Well,
that,
for you,
parking's that
that's-
rare citation where you're not actually handing it
to a
a
person.
person.
Right.
It's left on the car, so.
But, so, answer me, is it create another just level of paperwork and, expense to try and keep track of, oh, here's your second one, here's your third one? Is it creating a layer of expense on top of that also?
Well, the layer is, we don't know if somebody has a prior, so yeah, it'll take more time to figure out, because it's not like it's on their criminal history
For
where it shows they had a
$25.
prior parking ticket.
Yeah,
It's probably not gonna show up anywhere, it won't show on their criminal history and it won't show on their driving record, it's not a moving violation.
We're not going to pay what it costs us. We're not going to recover what it costs us to do this in any way, shape. If you charge $300 for a traffic
Right.
ticket, by the time you talk about the police officer, the truck, the 15 minutes they were there, the prosecution, the paralegal, the court, it's a lot of money.
Yeah.
So, and I don't think that's necessarily the goal, is to prevent it from happening again,
deterrent,
right? And that's gonna take a couple of years once we change our structure for us to fall into that.
Should we make,
But
should we just go to a 40 now and then see how it plays out for a year and revisit it in a year?
Well, the tough thing is like, you're talking about an amenity, and we're talking about curing a citywide problem where it's really focusing on the impact area of the holidays and the high impact
Right, but
events.
asking them, like they're saying, to patrol a separate area is just gonna create a nightmare.
No, I know, so you'd have to, I think you have to meet the average, right? I would love to see $100 at the amenity area and then $40 at city level.
Jared says
If I-
the objective is
we'll
for
figure it out if that's what we wanna do.
to be a deterrent, $40 does
And
not.
that's, I mean, he's not wrong.
Yeah, and I could see a 50 to 75 and we could go with that, but
Well, and I'm not even opposed to $100, as long as we just do
Yeah.
a really effective job of pumping it out to our residents primarily to say, look, you have to know that our parking violation is gonna go up dramatically, park where you are allowed to park.
on these outside of this area, like, what are those offenses? Just parking on red curbs, parking in front of fire hydrants?
Oh yeah, too close to intersections,
It's all
crosswalks,
the same fine, it's all the same.
Yeah.
too close to the school crosswalks, that kind of stuff.
What deems a immediate tow on those situations? Any of those?
Anything that's public safety related,
Okay.
so if they leave the car in an area that's impacting traffic, we would have to remove it.
In
There
front
are
of a fire
rules about-
hydrant too, or no? Or
No.
is that,
on
unless
this.
an active fire's there?
And then the fire department just
Yep.
moves
Oh, yeah.
the car themselves.
Isn't that accurate? Or go through the window?
Yeah,
They clear the situation.
they will break windows and stuff.
And I assume, and I'm not trying to push this onto judges, but I assume that there is, or they have to mandatory just charge the $100. Or if they wanna say, I wanna fight this, they could say, okay, I'm only gonna charge you $50, right?
So Matt, it might be good to explain like a mandatory appearance and not
Yeah,
on certain
so-
things like an assault versus a
They don't
traffic
always have to mandatorily appear, they're
Right.
putting on a parking ticket.
Unless they
For other
fight it.
offenses, they do, but not most, but a lot of people will come in and wanna talk about their ticket, explain what happened, and I give them the explanation. I listen to what they have to say and look at the documents, whatever, and then I'll show them the evidence that the city does, them parking next to a sign or something. Where it's at $25, I've just stuck with $25 and never go down.
Yeah, that's
That's-
$25.
But maybe if somebody had a really good reason and it was higher, $100, it would get dropped or something, or, cut back, but.
Yeah.
The policy is, cause Harriman does have a bad parking problem. You can contest it, I've essentially said, or pay the fee, just so it's fair across the board.
Yeah, okay.
We have a
Unless
lot of
somebody was
cars
dying and you ran inside.
Jared wants to talk, yeah, Jared's got a comment.
Hey, can you hear me?
Yes.
Sorry, I apologize for my voice and if I start coughing. But on the parking fee, you said that the policies allow for like a base amount and then their second violation, etc. I'm just thinking in terms of the fact that we want this to be a deterrent, no matter where the parking violation is. I'd actually be okay with that the first violation is still say 40 or 50 and then it goes up from there. But on the signs that we post, right, the sign is the deterrent. It says parking fines up to whatever that maximum is, right? $150, $200, whatever we set the maximum, but that's what the sign can show them.
Violator.
Is that parking right? Does that make sense?
Yes.
So add max fine under violators be ticketed.
I'm good with that.
And or your marquee signs that you're putting around, especially around the reservoir, just warning people, even on our marquee as you were driving into town for residents, even to start flashing a little bit out there. I don't know, my only issue, again, on the escalating one is trying to keep track of if they had a prior ticket. I think that's gonna be difficult.
Well, maybe it's not the prior, but it's the escalation and the promptness of payment that escalates it.
We're still tracking it though.
I don't know how we can track parking tickets without.
We are, and typically those escalations occur in most criminal episodes after conviction, right? So if I park there Saturday and then I park there Sunday, I haven't been convicted of the first time.
It won't escalate
Right.
those two, yeah.
So it wouldn't necessarily escalate that, I wouldn't think, Matt, that would be accurate for an infraction, right? So, and then the other issue I think that we may have is that if it is $40 the first time and they are in the parking restriction area, those people are unlikely to probably come back again. So they are getting their $40 parking spot
Their value.
without, they're getting their value without, because they're unlikely to come back, right? They're coming here for the 4th of July for one day and
Yeah.
then they're bailing out, but.
And if they're gonna want the value, it should cost at least $100.
Yeah.
You wanna come use the reservoir, and you wanna pay park where you're not supposed to, it's gonna
Right.
cost you $100.
And what would that would look like for us is parking enforcement's gonna issue a ticket and it's gonna go to Matt, right? And Matt's gonna determine how that plays out throughout the court system and so is the defendant. If it's the first one and there's, well, I guess it's really not a conviction on an infraction, is it? For a parking ticket, cause it's not. I don't know how that would play out then for the second one. We're not going to know on the enforcement side that it's a second. So the burden's gonna be on your office to have to
That's what I'm
continually
saying,
keep
I
up with
don't know.
that. So escalating tickets are always difficult.
I think
Other
you-
than I
sounds like
can see
a person,
a habitual
that name,
offender, or
Yeah.
somebody that's come back
Yeah.
a second time if their name sticks out.
Yeah.
And that may be a criminal offense, or it's happened on parking, I'm like, oh, I've seen this ticket, this guy or this gal
Yeah.
before.
I mean, we deal on
It's
it, on the
not
criminal
a
side, we
big
deal with it with theft and stuff. If you do it again, it's going to be.
It's the same
100.
20% of.
So if we still have the escalation in there, just with the understanding that you're not gonna get them all, that you can get the habitual ones and that there's another level in there.
My preference is just to set it high, set it at $100 and give you the discretion, which you already have, that if somebody comes in and they say, I don't know, their baby was throwing up, they had to pull over and that's where they parked, I don't know, you know what I mean? And you have some discretion that you could lower or minimize the fine. But if it's, they're coming in clearly because they're just coming to use the reservoir.
The percentage of valid excuses on the 4th of July weekend would be
Yeah.
very minimal, right? And that-
Yeah,
So, yeah.
you're gonna know those, they're all gonna be at the reservoir. But if they're parking in other areas of our city and they're habitual or something like that. The reason we have bad parking issues is why? Because there's no consequences, it's
That's right.
$25. So what's an effective
Well,
consequence?
so right now, we can already hit them with $100 if we want in that permit area, because that's there, so.
Well, and we were just talking about on the 4th of July, when we send you 100 tickets, when you come back to work, that's a lot of your week trying to figure out who's second, third, first.
Yeah.
It is, and it's not uncommon for us to write a whole lot of tickets on a holiday.
And Jared's got a great point here, the sign will be the deterrent.
Yeah.
Yeah, but with the carrot, there's gonna be a stick too. There's need that follow-up, right? If they see they find it, it's max 250 or max 100, whatever.
It's like the littering signs are
Yeah.
all over, people huck their stuff out anyway, we do highway cleanup.
Yeah.
It's like, yep,
Well, let's picking them out, we're being a dead horse.
I'm on the high end, 75 to 100, I think would be minimal for me, or like where I'd love to see it. I know it's not fair or equal or equitable, but you're gonna learn your lesson.
but
Don't
it,
park stupid.
but it's like, the question is fair or equitable, do we have a law?
Yeah.
So then we have to say, so if we say we're gonna have a law, or else we say we don't have a parking law. But if we have a parking law and you break the law, then there's a consequence associated to the law, or else if there's no consequences to it, then why do we have the law?
What's a speeding ticket, Matt, that's $100, 15 over?
The lowest is
$89.
$130 for,
130, yeah.
1 to 9,
So 110.
Yeah.
in a regular speed zone.
See, I'm not quite okay at 100, I could go 75, that's even pushing it for me.
So that's a fine equivalent for parking your car on the road to driving 10 miles on the road.
Yeah, or 5
This is
miles
my
an hour,
side.
you'd have to pay $130.
Right.
Anyway, that's my point, I just, if we have a rule, but we have
Shit.
consequences. It's intended to be a deterrent, not to
This
just keep
thing
doing
called
it,
the
and if
fence.
all we're doing is saying, yeah, it's fine.
I told you not to park there.
Yeah, and then they just keep doing it.
Give me an amount then. Sorry,
Go ahead.
No, if you feel
You'll never
uncomfortable.
recoup your money off
But I
whatever
want,
fund
I'm
it
just
is.
No,
We're
that-
just trying to deter 100%, that's what we're after, and so whatever the number is,
I'm just one person.
Yeah,
That's what I'm saying, shoot me your
no,
number.
if you're uncomfortable, I'm okay with 75 too, but I'm not okay with 40 just simply because it's intended to be a consequence to breaking the law.
Well, and we wanna cure the problem up there, cause
Exactly.
last year was no fun for any of us.
This is actually
in that
lowering
room.
it in that area, but increasing it citywide. Is
No,
what
we were
I
only
would
20,
do.
we were only 25 up there.
They
weren't we?
can, but they never
Well,
have.
we could charge 100.
Yeah, but we never
never
have,
did.
sorry,
So 75, but with some signage reading up to,
up to 150.
I just had a thought, I wonder
Uh-oh.
if there's a higher now. I know, it's dangerous.
I heard it, by the way, I heard it. It was
I
weird
thought it was just your
sounding.
beard growing.
Nice.
Sorry.
Yeah, it'll be full grown by the time we're done.
At this rate.
I wonder if we charge a higher fine, there's prosecutorial discretion on lowering the fine. And we can have a policy in the city attorney's office of,
If they make contact at a certain time.
right, or if they're contesting it and if it's their first offense. So that way we're not trying to do the work on the front end, figuring out how many tickets they've had before in escalation. Rather than it's this, but we can reduce it based on our policy.
So you're saying even go to 100 in that case?
Possibly, yeah,
Or
possibly.
more.
And then it's his discretion to,
Right, and
Lower
then
it.
we'll have a
It's tough for
policy.
you to say.
Which it is in any other
It
case.
really is.
It is, yeah.
Prosecutorial
Okay, I'm
discretion
fine with that, I'm
trumps
fine then with the kind of $100 then, I'm okay with that as long as there's some.
And if they call in, it's my first time, I did this, XYZ.
and this is citywide.
Okay, Jared, are you
Yeah,
okay with that?
because I think that leaves, and I don't mean we should be soft on residents, they should obey the law too, but at least some discretion in there that's like, we're not gonna end your grocery bill for the day, by charging you that fine.
That's one dinner out.
I know, I said the day.
So our max is, you're saying set it as
But
I don't
sign,
think,
well,
I don't
signage
think
should
it max,
be,
what's our max now?
It's 100 in
100.
that area.
100 in that area right there.
Right, so I'm okay with our max being 150 and our standard just being 100, I don't know.
what are we able to put on signage? Like max 250, what's the max 750 technically,
Yeah, but we
but
want to.
we would never charge that, we wouldn't wanna sign that though.
Sign that's reasonable, what they believe.
Yeah, you kind of see them on the side of the freeway.
$299.
Litters up to
Yeah,
$1,000
So what do we
fine.
wanna put on that? Do we need to codify what we put on that sign too? I think we wanna go high as we can,
max 200, what is he,
that's what he's saying, the higher the better for the
Mine's up
signs.
to
Up to
Yeah.
2,
200.
I think so.
Okay. We'll figure out something.
It's hot.
We'll figure out
Did you have
the
another
language
thought?
on that.
I'm sorry.
Yeah, another.
We heard something.
That wasn't a thought.
Too much? Do you think that's too high?
No, it's a policy decision, so I don't have any preference.
Good?
So what was the
No comments.
I think zeros are easier to read than fives, so 200.
So we want to
$100,
start
but then 200 on the
200
side.
max, okay.
Yeah,
I don't know if you, up to 200, oh, I guess, I don't know how you sign it, but yeah, up to 2.
We'll look at that language when we get to the sites. Communication wise, we need to communicate this out, obviously.
Good luck, John.
yeah, cause
Everybody's
just like our
listening to this
parking
meeting.
thing,
So
a lot
we-
of people have been confused about that, you guys have done a great job of helping people re-educate the parking thing. And it might
heard
even be
anything
good
about
for re-educating on your discretion too, on your end, when people are like, holy cow, I didn't know the fines went up that high. Well, they did, don't come back, you know?
We anticipate making these changes up at the reservoir May first with our usual schedule. Is that good citywide as well?
I think so.
That gives us enough time to communicate all that out and work on signage and all of that.
Yeah,
Yeah.
need swim trunks and a beach ball.
I think we do, and we haven't changed it in years, I mean, we haven't looked at it, and it's more in line with other cities.
Okay, now that we're through that, this is our current sign package that we have at the reservoir. As you can see, it's not been updated for a while, and we've got Harriman Mountain logos, we've got Harriman Pioneer logos, we've got stickers over things, so it's kind of a mess. This is the proposed that Mitch and the communications team are working on. We listened to the council meeting to see exactly what we wanted to list. These signs really help our staff that are there enforce the rules. We've translated them obviously into Spanish, which we think will be a big assistance. Councilman Shields had requested that we add the swim at your own risk sign there that tells you exactly what's in the water, and this may, also be a detriment to people.
Maybe we could
not.
have a big banner with some girls' pictures of what really happens to people.
It's a deterrent.
I'm just kidding.
But any feedback on these? We've got some,
I think they were great.
Yep.
Good job.
Oh my.
Nice.
Wait, go back.
Go back.
Oh my gosh. We need more of that.
Oh, that's awesome.
I was taking Todd's lead on starting to put people's faces.
Nice.
That's great.
But there's the kind of layout of where we thought the signs would be most helpful.
Have there been fishing attempts up there, for like people going up there?
I'm sure.
Yes.
Yeah.
It's where
So
they
those
might
are the
fish
no
today.
parking signs. We can add,
It's where they fish.
this was another question that came up when we were talking about the sign package. So we have parking by permit only in that area from May 1st to September 7th. This is in the parking enforcement residential area. But then we started thinking, well, if we're only paying to park on weekends and holidays, do we want to remove the permit area from the street parking rules? We've gone down a rabbit hole on this sucker. So we created the other sign saying parking by permit only on weekends and holidays. So in the residential enforcement area, they could park on the street without a permit.
Cause our
What do you
big,
think about that?
cause our big issue is just weekends and holidays up there, right?
Yeah.
And everybody else in the but everybody
I
else
have
in the
another one, too.
city that has a city street in front of them don't have the luxury of saying, oh, you can't park here unless you have a permit. So it actually kind of levels the play, makes it a little more equitable for everybody in the city, cause why should you not be able to park up there unless we're trying to control a problem, and the problem seems to only be on weekends and holidays.
How do the affected residents, they have a permit, they have to come in and get a permit for those weekend and holidays anyways, or extra permits for
Yes.
family events and stuff.
Mm.
So they're already gonna have their permits for the season regardless,
Yes.
or issued to them. I don't think it's gonna, I think if I was in that area, I'd prefer that nobody park there anytime unless they had a
We have-
permit.
We have some residents that have home occupations that are switching permits and vehicles, right?
Yeah.
So if they have somebody come to their home
Or you
for
have a baby
service,
shower
or
or this,
yeah.
that.
Yeah, it's cumbersome
during
for
the
them,
week-
but they're
Yeah.
if they're in that permitted or non-permitted area, or permitted only area, they're already accustomed to it. So I don't know. I would like, it's tough for input. And then the enforcement side, they've gotta know that, okay, it's a weekend holiday. Is the weekend the Thursday, Friday, Saturday? Is it the,
Well, that would be,
We'll define that.
yeah,
Yeah.
that would be defined with the,
yeah.
I don't know. I don't know. I have people who live on city streets that probably be glad to say, nope, nobody can park here.
I know. It's not black and white.
Okay, think about it. Let us know. Cause like I said, this is gonna have to come back in a public hearing and anyway.
Jared, do you have an opinion? Or just a cough?
Yeah, I'll cough for sure. Opinion on what?
On the
Right.
sign, should we say that the parking permit area is only on weekends and holidays, which would be matching what our, our parking pass in the
Enforcement.
parking lot is? Or do we keep that whole area parking by permit only for all the month, May through September 7th?
I don't know that it'll matter a whole lot for some of the reasons you just talked about. If you change it, you're gonna have a bunch of people complain and a bunch of people that are happy. Like you're not gonna please everyone, right? Those that are closer to the reservoir are gonna hate it because now people are parking there again.
Yep.
And others that you mentioned with businesses and things, they'll like it. So any change comes with those unintended consequences.
Cause you could have a busy night, but it might just be those first two houses, but they're the ones that have to. Okay,
What do you need to know by when you need to order these signs?
Well, I'm not gonna order the signs until we have all the other things done.
Because maybe it's a good thing to survey those residents.
Yeah, we can do that.
Just kind of get some good feedback from them. I think I know what I'm saying, but it might be a good, because I think there's some of those residents who end up having people get tickets because their family comes and, oh, we didn't get an extra permit, but if they're coming on non-weekends and holidays, it just alleviates that hassle for them too.
We can ask them during that process, because we have to go through a public hearing process.
okay,
We've got
Yeah.
time to vet that out.
Okay,
okay, let's do it.
Okay, one more thing that has come up. Sorry, I'm trying. We have
Our
a
fault.
large pavilion that we rent out at Blackridge. The small ones are first come, first served. But we have the one by the playground that we do allow reservations for. In the past, we have blocked off, how many spots are we blocking off, Lauren? Is it 2 or 3?
No, got up to about 10.
Wow.
Cause that pavilion holds 150 people.
oh,
So, do we want to continue to reserve that pavilion, is the question.
Cause if you rent it, then
Because they're
What's the
reserving it,
fee?
they're reserving it.
What's the fee of the rental?
Let me pull it up, I just had it up.
how often is it reserved?
All the time.
And
Every
it's,
holiday, every weekend.
yeah, and it's people's traditional family reunion spot, so we get a lot of those. Okay, the large pavilion is $25 for resident, $50 for non-resident. That is half day, or all day for $40 and $75, which I would propose we raise that as well while we're at it.
Agreed, but I think we need to include
But the question comes with the parking.
parking.
Cause that's
Either we,
$150 worth of parking passes,
yeah,
if you're
10
having
spots.
If you have 10
spots.
cars.
And that's just what we blocked. I think they could use that whole parking lot for a party.
sometimes, I'm sure, yeah, especially certain families.
but if we limit the number of the reserve that come with it,
Yeah, so we, at the end of the summer, when we put all these things in place, we just said you'll get 10 parking spots. And that's what it was.
So say average vehicle holds 5 people, right? You got 10, that's 50 people.
then
10
above that, they
spots,
gotta
that's
buy
not
passes
bad,
then.
yeah. So whatever our fee, our base fee plus the parking fee.
Okay.
That's what I'd probably be comfortable with. Maybe a discounted overall, but I mean, for $75 for all day, that's pretty,
That's why I think we need to go up on that.
And that's for non-residents, residents only 40
yeah.
for all day.
What's the percentage of non-residents and residents to rent that? Is it mixed?
Could run a report on that probably.
Yeah, I would say mostly not residents, if I had to guess. We have the few that rent it every year that are already calling, but I would say most of them are not residents.
Yeah, that's a deal, 75
It's a
bucks.
steal, yeah.
So what I'm hearing is just add that parking fee to the Blackridge, the rental fee.
Yeah, and then whatever you're increasing that fees or rental fees, I'm sure you're changing a lot of those.
Okay. I think that was it, wasn't it?
You just keep them back.
I know.
Fine.
Show
We'll
them.
just leave that up. I love the hats.
Should've had a
Such good
fishing
job
pole.
on the hats. We talked about a fishing pole and then we thought, okay.
Breaking the rules.
Any other comments or suggestions?
There's only two-person
Good
kayak.
job, this has been kind of a
We'll start-
constant thorn, so
Yeah.
thank you.
We'll see, hopefully this helps and we'll start through the public process.
I mean, we're still talking about Blackridge?
Awesome, thank you.
That's item
It's our
one,
favorite
Mayor.
topic.
That was, my 7:38 over, so I'm now over, I'm the overshot. Okay, 2.2, discussion of fiscal year 2025 and 2026 debt service and community development. It's renewal agency of Harriman City budgets, Kyle.
You got me there.
Yeah.
Thank you.
This will be significantly easier. Blackridge, this is kind of a palate cleanser before some of the other stuff tonight. So as we go through the budget process, we discussed the revenues last week. This week are some of the funds that have pretty much set budgets. Of course, you as the council ultimately hold the checkbook and the CDRA board hold the checkbook. However, we have obligations that make up pretty much everything that are in these funds. So it's good to get these out of the way because you probably won't see them again until the tentative budget comes up for discussion. So really, this is a reminder of what's actually included in these funds. Since we don't necessarily talk about these a lot, you'll see things come through to pass, but we don't necessarily discuss this is what's in these funds. So the first one's our debt service fund. We only have a couple of bonds outstanding. One is our 2015 sales tax bonds. That was used to construct City Hall, Harriman Boulevard, and then some park projects. Debt service is about 2.1 million each year on that. We have about 19.5 million left on that bond, and then payments run through August of 2035. So we still have some years left on that bond. The next one's more recent. You probably know this one well. This is what is being used to reconstruct Harriman Main Street. We got a grant from the state that covers the debt service amount, so really it's not costing general fund dollars to pay the debt service on that, and that runs through 2036. Then we do have a few small capital leases left, currently 3. As you can see, debt service is about $334,025, and we have one drop off in 26 that drops it to 200,000. We have about 1.7 million left on those 3 capital leases, and those are estimated to end through December 2029. And those are what we use to finance large vehicles, so we are past the point where we were financing small vehicles with that, or small or light duty trucks. Just some other things in this fund is we do earn interest earnings, and the majority of it's on that 800,000 state grant. And then we do have to pay some fees to our trustee who handles our bond payments. We pay a trustee and then they pay the bondholders. And then the IRS makes us do a fun thing called arbitrage rebate, which essentially means we are earning more in interest on those bond funds while they were sitting idle versus what the interest rates in the market are. Because we are actually in a time right now where bonds were issued at a lower interest rate, earnings are high right now, so we actually have a couple bonds that may be having some positive arbitrage, and we're gonna have to pay the IRS, but that's, I don't wanna say down the road, cause I hate when people say that, cause that comes sooner than you think, but we are aware that that's coming up, but we do have an outside consultant do those calculations, cause they are quite complex. Next, we'll move to the redevelopment agency funds. So the first one we'll discuss, and this is the largest, is our town center CDA. So this is where City Hall is located. We have 2 bonds currently outstanding. Both were for infrastructure in this project area. As you can see, one's through October 2029, the other one's through 2032. And as you probably remember, as the CDRA board, you did pass a tax participation agreement with HTC Communities. to repay them for infrastructure that they installed that was outside of these two bonds. And they also made a few of the debt service payments in the initial years of the SAA bond. That runs through 2034. And then just as a aside, we received about 3.7 million in tax increments. So that's the different taxing agencies that are participating and giving us a portion of their taxes that they're earning. As you can see at the bottom, I do have the entity's participation. So the school district participates through 2036. Everybody else participates through 2034. And then as a note, the fire service area will start participating next year. The rationale for that, as you know, but in case the public's listening, is that the Unified Fire Service Area was participating and then we left the fire service area. So in spirit of fairness, staff was recommending continuing those participation while through the Unified Fire Service Area term. Next one is the Anthem Town Center. So that is where the Winco is located at the north end of town near Mountain View. We have a participation agreement with Anthem Center LLC, who is the developer. We have $550,000 budgeted, and the terms of their agreement are they receive 73.33% of the tax increment that remains after we deduct some of these other items we're going to talk about. And then we are required to set aside money for affordable housing. We also have mitigation payments to Jordan School District in Salt Lake County. It's a little interesting how this works with the county is the county gives us 100% of the tax increment they would have collected, then we cut a check back for 25 and 35% depending on the entity. Back in time, the county did all that. I don't know why that changed or why the agreement was written that way, but it is, and we cut them a check every year for that. We are required by state statute to put 10% of our tax increment we receive aside for affordable housing, so that is sitting in an account right now. Finally, we do have another participation agreement with Anthem Center LLC, the developer, for sales tax participation with Winco. That's budgeted at $180,000 for next year. The majority of it will be paid next year, but we owe like another $18,000 in 2026, and that agreement will be complete. And we already completed the agreement with Winco itself last year. The easiest of the renewal agencies, this is the Business Center CDA, so that's where the Real Stadium's located, that area up there. We have one agreement with the Sorensen Foundations, which was previously Rosecrest, where they receive a portion of the tax increment collected, excluding what Salt Lake County remits to us. Finally, our second newest renewal area is the Innovation District, so that's where the Bullfrog manufacturing plant is located. We do have a participation agreement with Harriman Industrial Number 1, which will reimburse them for infrastructure that they put in as part of building that manufacturing plant. It hasn't been triggered yet because we actually need a written request from the developers. Staff have reached out multiple times and we haven't received anything back. So the money's just sitting in the account. If we ever receive that, we will honor the obligation. Similar to Anthem, we have those mitigation payments back. So county kicks us 100%, and then we have to kick back a portion back to the school district and the county. This renewal area also has an affordable housing contribution of 10%. There is also an agreement with South Valley Sewer where the agreement was for a total of $3 million to install sewer infrastructure in the area. Not anticipating any future capital investment in that area in terms of new buildings. We're only anticipating we'll be able to fulfill $1 million of that $3 million. And the agreement is written, we don't owe the money if the tax increment isn't there to pay for it, so. With that, is there any questions?
Where does our affordable housing fee go? Does it go back to the county, or do we get to maintain that, or?
So, planning director shaking his head, I'm not sure, I don't know the whole story behind it.
And I know not a whole lot more than you, Kyle. I just know that we've retained it. There has been some discussion about moving it back to the county. At the time, and this was a few years ago, Wendy, county said no. But I've actually been serving on the Housing Trust Fund Advisory Committee, representing the city with the county. And they now do have a program that they could partner with us to administrate those funds. It's just not, it looks like it's not quite $100,000 yet.
I'd have to look, it's not a lot.
Like
The interest,
Bluffdale's is in a few million, I think.
the
So-
interesting thing is those agreements were written stating you will send it to Salt Lake County, and then I've heard,
That they
Yeah,
don't want
so
it,
it-
yeah,
so
but
it's
now, like I
interesting.
said, there is a vehicle if we want to talk with them, Wendy, about
But is it interest bearing account?
Yeah.
And we just-
Is there a timing mechanism too on it or anything, or?
not knowing state law in and out, I don't believe there is, and there's nothing in the agreement saying we have to pay interest
Yeah.
on it. And one of our funds is actually in a negative balance, so there would be interest earned on it anyway, so.
Yeah.
Okay.
Great question though.
Cause I think we could do something in the community with that as well, rather than sending it off.
Yeah, that was your conversations a couple of years ago, right?
We can go back to that once down
Yeah.
those homes, get
Yeah.
a start.
Well, not even that, but just even our old building possibly where we're providing services of something or education or something like that along for homeownership or, I don't know what we can use that.
I'd have to look at state code, I don't know the ins and outs of it.
Thanks, Kyle.
Okay.
That was easy.
Okay, thank you, Kyle. Okay, you got enough time, Monty, if we do 2.3? You got,
I can go really fast if it works with you.
okay. We'll do 2.3 fleet management policy discussion with Monty.
Mayor
And
and council, thank you for your time tonight. So we'll go over, fleet policy. So here a little while ago, we were following council direction to develop and write a fleet policy to go through and outline all of our procedures and everything that we do with fleet, right? So in doing that, we formed the fleet committee. That consists of a member from every department that uses fleet services. And so that's an oversight committee that will meet regularly and go through any of the aspects of purchasing vehicles all the way through surplusing vehicles. In the policy that was included in your packet, you can see that it's broke down. It goes into the planning stages that are preparing for the budget, any new vehicles or any replacement vehicles that need to be put into the budget. It covers acquisition, so purchasing the vehicles after the budget has been approved. There's also some additional approval steps that we added into that. Covers upfitting and maintenance, which is getting the vehicle into service and then owning and operating the vehicle. And then it also goes through and details the outline of how the point system and how we go about determining which vehicles are gonna qualify for consideration for replacement. And that's all done through a point system. So we're hitting on not just the age of the vehicle and the mileage of the vehicle, but also a lot of other aspects, right? Then finally, it goes through reassignment possibly or disposal of the vehicles. That document also includes some supporting documents with it, some pages in the end that go into a lot more detail of how the point system works. Also how we determine the condition of the vehicle for another category in the replacement policy. In doing so, we also wrote 6 SOPs that go into much greater detail on the operations of how we accomplish each one of those steps. Another thing that we've added is we heard that there was quite a bit of interest in looking at overall total cost of ownership of vehicles and comparing those with different makes and models. So what we've done is incorporated a life cycle costing example that is in there. And it is just an example. We took and pulled 3 comparable bids from Ram, Chiv, and Ford, and then we ran the numbers into there. and I'm gonna go ahead and turn some time over to Trevor. He helped build the spreadsheet for that. And so if there's any questions that you have on that, hopefully Trevor can answer those. Can you open up the XL half-ton life cycle comparisons?
Thank you, Monty. Yeah, so as Monty was saying, we wanted to take a look at total cost of ownership for different vehicles. This is something that we do here by kind of starting out with the purchase price of the vehicle and a discount on it, and then going into, maintenance and repair costs, fuel costs, and then ultimately a surplus value that we calculated, and then just kind of running that through a 10-year lifespan of a vehicle, not indicative of how long we intend to necessarily keep a vehicle or not, but just to have that spread of time under consideration. The maintenance and repair costs are, I guess, John, if you could flip to the assumptions tab, please. Here we talk through what some of our underlying assumptions are for regular vehicular maintenance and repairs, some of the timing and items that would be used in order to make those calculations, and we attempted to keep those fair between the different vehicles. So as you, I don't know if, could you go back to the other tab, please? Just the left arrow a few times. So we've got three of them here with, and in this example, we were just looking at the half-ton vehicles in particular, and so flipping between these three vehicles here, we can see the difference in cost. And of course, these numbers are based on quotes that we've gotten currently, definitely subject to change in terms of MSRP, discount prices, and that sort of a thing. But this is more indicative of our rationale as far as how the fleet committee will look at vehicles in order to make a recommendation for acquisition and that sort of thing.
So there's obviously a break-even point on a lot of those where, well, not break-even, but where you can sell it for your highest value at the end of use.
Yeah, if you notice on these particular ones, we've estimated these at 15,000 miles a year, so this is more of like a police operations. Most of our other departments are a lot less miles than that per year. But if you notice, as you start looking at about year 9, year 10, you start getting to a point where the cost dips a little bit, and then sometimes it'll rise right towards the end just slightly. You're talking a penny per mile, so I mean it's fairly small, but when you start putting a lot of miles on a vehicle, that can add up a little bit. And so typically we'll look at those items to see if where we're at on things.
Now you guys chart your maintenance too, just to make sure that when we're getting that old of a vehicle, make sure our maintenance isn't substantially taking an uptick, so we're not.
Yeah, so the things that are showing up on this chart here are more of your actual wearable items and also your preventative maintenance. We looked at our fleet and looked at over the mass thing, and as each individual vehicle has its own individual characteristics, even though say they're all Fords or all Chevs or all Rams. It's hard to say which one would have a major breakdown, but we know by odds we're going to end up with a major breakdown with a certain small percentage of those vehicles. And so when we're trying to be unbiased and run this out as fair as possible, we left out major breakdowns because it's hard to determine which one was going to have one or which one would not. So we kept them as consistent as possible. We did take the posted fuel mileage on each make of the vehicles, and so that had a small impact on it. Some of them you get 18 miles a gallon, what they post, others And these are highway miles per gallon, since majority of the stuff city, because most of the stuff we go around is city, not highway. And so you'll notice some of the different engines, 18 miles per gallon, this one gets 17 in this example. And that one gets 15. So there's a small impact as far as that goes. The largest impact that we notice in these charts is usually the original purchase price of the vehicle and then how well the vehicle holds its value
Surplus.
Yeah,
on the
yeah.
surplus end. Those are the two biggest factors.
You didn't factor in drivers, the Ram drivers are much better.
Yeah, I agree with that.
No, but I also think that if you're running through tires at 30,000 miles, you gotta learn how to drive better.
So,
I don't know, tires never pass that.
Mine lit tires are 66,000 and they're still fine.
And I believe that before I walked in.
I wish my wife was getting that good mileage out of her tires.
I know.
Yeah, so is there any questions on this?
No, I think that looks
It's
good.
a great
As a matter of
data.
fact, the whole report that in our
Yeah.
staff report, it's extremely thorough.
Yeah.
You guys are doing a great committee.
We spent a considerable amount of time and made sure that we were covering all aspects that we went back and reviewed that were questions on where we were at. The last thing that I did have to cover was warranties. I know there was a question about, would it be beneficial for the city to buy extended warranties on vehicle and then run those vehicles a little bit longer in time and see if we could come out better? So what we did was we took our actual fleet data from 97 F-150s. Now these could have different cab and bed configurations, but they're all F-150s. And we took a look back for the last 6 years. So most extended warranties that you look at, and you, depend on how much money you wanna spend, you could basically insure the vehicle forever, right? But it gets very expensive on that backside. So the most popular ones that, we looked into were, they were about a 6-year, so a 3-year extension. Most manufacturers put a 3-year, 36,000 mile on them, and then sometimes in the powertrain, they'll go 5 years, 60,000, right? But in looking at that, we had, we pulled the data from our own fleet about what vehicle breakdowns we had in 97 Ford F-150s that would have fallen, major breakdown that would have fallen within that 3-year extended coverage on the extended warranty. We found 2 transmissions. So in reality, in the last 6 years, we've lost 5 transmissions. 3 of those have been within the first 3 years of the vehicle, and it was covered under the original warranty of the factory, right? 2 fell outside of that just slightly and fell into what would be considered an extended warranty period. Those 2, the cost for those 2 repairs were a total of $12,887. The extended warranty cost per vehicle would be $2,300 to extend 3 more years on your
Each vehicle.
And so if you ran that out by 97, that would have cost the city $223,100 or $12,887 in return. So our conclusion from that is, we would recommend, if that's something that we want to do, is try to extend the life of those vehicles and run them a little longer than we're comfortable there. We would recommend doing a contingency budget line item that we basically would self-extend our warranty, so maybe put $15,000, $20,000 in there. And then that way, if we don't spend it, the city keeps the money instead of paying an insurance company for it.
Just cover major repairs or something like that, just to,
Yeah.
a little slush fund in case we have those.
Yeah.
Yeah, that makes way more sense than the extended warranty.
The other thing that we wanna also remind you is that if we do decide to run vehicles longer than what we've been running them, the chance of running into a catastrophic failure or an expensive repair increases, right? That contingency fund would probably cover that side of it, but there's also a cost to the city if we end up with a crew that relies on that piece of equipment for operation and their equipment's broke down, they're unable to use it, so.
I think that might be another SOP where it's like, once this hits the 5, 6, 7 year life cycle, we would normally switch it out. If it's a viable vehicle, we keep it in-house for parks, maintenance, something where it's not a primary, like a source of vehicle, but something. If it's fitted for that too, it's because it's maybe fitted for a different process or a different job.
Yeah.
But, no, I think it's I think you guys did a great job.
Good information, yeah.
Do you have any questions for us that you need us to answer?
The only question I have is basically what I put in the staff report is, does the items that we submitted to you, do they address all the concerns and everything that everybody had, or do we need some more?
I know Steve had lots of questions on this, so he might have some feedback when he gets back, but.
I thought it was extremely
Yeah.
thorough.
Yeah,
I think you did a really good job. It,
answered all my questions.
mine too.
Thank you, we appreciate
Good
it.
job.
It answers that question, why Ford F-150s, right?
The resale value is fine.
The one thing that Ford, and the reason that we've stayed with Ford as long as we have, is Ford has always been super aggressive for government contracts. And if you noticed on the discounts, even now that
Their margins
discounts have
are-
diminished substantially, they're still
3,000-4,000.
a bit higher than what they were.
Yes. Wasn't
Okay.
good they held their value.
Just getting some direction, so our thought was to put it on the next council meeting on consent agenda. And then if you guys want, if Steve wants,
Steve will
he
definitely
can
pull
pull
it.
it off if he wants.
Mhm.
But this is,
Kidding.
we wanna have this in place because we were waiting on this to start working towards planning for the next budget year, so. Okay.
Oh, no, I think you did good there, yeah.
No, I think you did a great job.
Thank you, appreciate it.
Good work. Thank you, Monty. Appreciate all you guys do. Okay. Can we do it?
Yes.
Let's do it. Okay, 2.4 rodeo ticket.
You don't wanna stand the whole night here?
Lauren.
That'd be fine.
Yeah, we got this a little bit.
Alright, John, can you pull up my calculator that's been pulling up?
Now it won't pull up. There.
And then also, yep. Yes. Okay. You're talking about rodeo prices. So adding the third day rodeo, we added some additional costs this year. We're trying to get tickets on sale as soon as we can, obviously. So Kyle wanted me to bring this back. So if you have anything to say?
No, one new thing is this will go on the fee schedule. In years past it hadn't, but I want you as a council to formally adopt the pricing, so that's different this year.
Perfect.
That's why Lauren's here.
And we're reviewing that fee schedule every year, or every?
As need, it'll be at least every year, but every time something like this comes up, we'll be coming back.
Trevor, he just makes things for every department, but he made me this wonderful calculator so that we can talk about a few things. So, adding the third day, we wanted to try to give an option for a family night to try to give a more affordable ticket option for Thursday night. So we're recommending to take $5 off of both the kids and adult prices for Thursday, so it would be 20 for adults and 10 for 14 and under, 13 and under. And then keeping our prices the same as we had last year, which was 25 for adults and 15 for kids for Friday and Saturday night. I did some work on other rodeos that have their prices up for 2024. There's some around us that do not have it up. But tried to stay with rodeos that were comparable as much as possible, but I did wanna add Riverton just because they are so close. And then the other thing that we wanna discuss with you is adding additional bleachers and charging a higher price for that ticket. And if that's worth the cost to do so.
These are temporary bleachers. Staff will be meeting in the next, I think it's the next few weeks, to start working on a plan for arena expansion. And to apply for some grant money to help fund that.
What's the seating on those bleacher? How many seats are we talking about?
It says 300
Per set or each?
per set.
Okay.
And we, to be clear, I dropped these in just as options of where to place them, but we are only looking at getting one additional set.
Oh,
So just 300
those are
extra
ideas where
seats.
you could put them, but we're only doing one.
Yes. The cost of that one set of bleacher would be $6,700.
That's not horrible.
And so we thought 250 extra seats, which we added on here. as our VIP seating, and we thought, the premium seat would be $50 and it would come with some additional things. Maybe a snack, maybe a drink, maybe
A walk above the bulls.
secured park, or reserved parking, something to make that ticket more valuable, and a reserved seating option without reserving our entire,
Yeah.
west side. So
I
that's
like
our
it.
thoughts, we
I
just
like
wanted to get your thoughts.
And can John, if you can scroll down, one of the reasons we wanted to bring this back was to show you what the subsidy the city would be providing at these current ticket prices.
Yes, thanks, Kyle.
So under this scenario, it's about a $53,000 subsidy with these current ticket prices.
And the
Which is way
revenues,
down.
the revenues are very conservative.
How was the perception of the ticket pricing for last year? I know we sold out.
We sold
Yeah.
out,
But-
we did get some kickback
Yeah,
on prices, but I think having the Thursday option being cheaper or more affordable.
and that's in there now with the adult ticket at 15
Yeah.
on that Thursday.
We also talked about, I don't know if it's on here, we talked about doing a discount for veterans and seniors.
Yeah, it was on the, it was in our packet.
Okay.
I
I don't, the calculator doesn't contemplate it, but we just wanted to make sure you were aware that.
I think that's a good.
I think I mean, if we don't get $2,000 on a discount or something, that's.
So how do we cover that gap? More sponsors? No.
Sponsorships would be great.
What's our past gap been? What was last year's cost of our rodeo?
So it's really hard for us to say because before, we weren't doing it this way.
Yeah.
So.
This
we
is
weren't-
the first attempt to actually combine all the costs, cause the costs are all over the
In
place.
all different departments and
Yeah.
different, okay.
This was the first.
This even, like, has staffing costs in it, where last year I could give you a total, but it wouldn't include staffing.
And it's got police and
Yeah.
everything.
Um,
We're anticipating less city funds subsidizing this year. Is that a true statement?
To be
I would
honest with
guess.
you, we don't know.
we
Okay.
don't know for sure, but I would guess
We think so with the increased ticket prices, but we haven't delved back into last year to
And the
feel full
economies of
costing.
scale. If we do sell out the Thursday night, although we do have some increased costs due to the extra night, they're minimal compared to the amount we'll make on the ticket sales.
Yeah.
So the economies
Yeah.
of scale work in our favor for the third night. I would anticipate sponsorships to be better with the 3-night. And depending on how we work deals with V6 and the Cowboy Channel and Patrick, I mean, it could be a lot better than we anticipate.
Our sponsorship package that we have set up this year, and this is very preliminary, but if we sell everything that we have set up this year, that total would be closer to 50 or 60,000. Even upwards to 80, but I'm trying to be realistic because there is limited time in our days, so. So I'm trying to spread the love, but.
The other answer, Councilman Hodges, is expansion. We just don't have room to sit all the people that want to come.
Would it be overkill to do 2 extra bleachers? You think 600 seats?
Are 2 extra available?
They have 2 sets available, so we could, and the delivery fee's $1,200, and then the bleachers
67.
are 5,000 a piece.
Okay.
So that delivery fee would only be one,
One,
so
so
it'd be
10,000, so
another,
12.
yeah.
I think we start with one this year.
I know, yeah, that's what I'm thinking, but I'm just,
But I think it's important to do exactly what you talked about. Let's make those, some specialty seats, some reserved seating, something, a perk to paying a little extra to get those.
Do you like that price point, $50?
Yeah. Have you
It
tried
depends
to
on
go
what
to,
benefit
like,
it comes with it,
Coldplay or
right?
Spanish
Yeah.
Fork, some of their price points are a lot higher, not the same, but yeah, I don't think that's.
my only concern is if I'm buying a VIP or a special ticket, I wanna choose where I'm gonna sit. But if it's on, say it's on that south end or even the north end, where the VIP or where we traditionally have our bleachers, I don't know if that's like the ideal viewpoint, right? That's the tough thing with the setup. I don't know.
I feel like the north end where where you guys are usually sitting is the best spot in the house. That's my
Yeah.
opinion. I feel like that's
For a
the
lot
way
of
to
the
stop.
events, for
Yeah.
sure, yeah. And how does that impact That's easier to access control and VIP parking.
Yeah.
That's what they're probably paying for is the VIP parking, where they could pull right in there.
It's not necessarily just the better seat,
Well,
it's.
Yeah,
and
it's the parking.
do a interaction with some of the
A cowboy.
cowboys,
Yeah.
you know, just a few perks like that,
Or
that's
did they
way easier
get
right
part of
there
the
too.
hospitality tent too?
We
Or,
talked about that.
I mean,
I feel like that's gonna be.
It's gonna be, it's
Yeah,
gonna be
yeah.
hard though if we do put the bleachers by the by the hospitality
segregate,
tenant
yeah, yeah.
to keep that separate, so it is something we do need to consider if we want them over there.
or we might have to
We can move the tent a little.
transition a
We
little
talked
bit
about that
on layout, yeah.
No, I think that that's good, I just.
Or they have their
throw
own
some
VIP
perks in there
tent,
and
yeah.
see how it goes, I mean, the worst that could go is that people don't wanna pay $50, but.
And if they don't purchase it, we're not doing, I mean, was that where you put the other grandstand is on that north end?
It
Is that
could
what
go
you're
in
thinking?
any
If
one
you-
of those
Yeah.
four areas.
But if you put the added VIP, we usually have, say it's the VIPs in that north end, would they need more seating down there, or
We have,
even a
we still
smaller
have the
bleacher?
bleachers,
Okay,
yeah.
yeah, okay,
We'd still have our additional bleachers.
yeah, okay.
Control with it, let's see how it goes this year.
Yeah, I'm
Good luck.
excited for the 3 days, it's a good
Um,
one, I think.
We need a council and calf rodeo, something.
You got it.
Okay. Dude, I'm serious, yeah. I think a calf would be fun. Put on your boots.
Okay, you good? You got what you need then from us? You good?
Think so, do you need anything else? Kyle? You're good, okay.
Okay, look for motion to temporarily,
I'll make a motion to temporary close, temporary recess, board meeting to go into general.
all in favor?
Aye.